Hi everyone, this is Michael with PianoWithMichael.com. I want to thank you for stopping by. Today I am going to teach the easy version of Beethoven's For Elise, Bagatelle number 25, but everyone kind of refers it to For Elise. Now, if you like this video, please like, share, and then also click on the notification bell so that you get notified when I upload new videos. Okay, so let's go back to Beethoven's For Elise, the easy format. You can find it on my website at PianoWithMichael.com. I've got a whole series of classical pieces that I will break down each piece and take each measure and teach you how to play it. So, when looking at and learning a new piece, what I like to do is break it down with the right hand and then also left hand and then bring them in together. So we'll go ahead and use that process. And so the first thing I do when I look at a new piece is I take a look at the time signature, or excuse me, the key signature. This one is an A minor. It has no intended sharps or flats, although you will find sharps and flats sharps kind of throughout the piece, and we'll discuss those as we come up on them. And then I also like to look at the time signature. So in this particular piece, we have 3/4, which basically means that there are 3 beats per measure, and the bottom note, the bottom number 4, means that the quarter note gets the beat. So that's 3 beats per measure, and the quarter note gets the beat. Okay, so let's go back to the sheet music. As we see, line 1, measure 1 is kind of 1 beat, and that's kind of a start off measure. And we've got 2 eighth notes. We've got the E, and we using the 5th finger, and then we also have a D sharp, which we're going to use the 4th finger. Okay, so E, D sharp. Okay, so line 1, measure 2, we've got that E again with the 5th finger, and then we've got the D sharp, and then we've got the E again, and then we drop down to B with our 2nd finger, and then we go to D natural. So what used to be that D sharp, now we bring as a natural D using the 4th finger, and then another 8th note with C with our 3rd finger. Okay, so let's go back to measure 1. Line 1, measure 1, we've got E, D sharp, E, D sharp, E, B, D flat, C. Okay, so line 1, measure 3, we've got a quarter note with a dot. And what that means again is that the quarter note, then we add half of that quarter note to that to get a quarter beat and an eighth of a beat, and we just kind of tie it together and play it as one note. So, and we're going to use our thumb. So it's going to be 1 and, okay? And then we've got the 8th note with a C using our thumb, and then 2nd finger on E, and then 4th finger on A. Okay, and then line 1, measure 4, we're going to have our 5th finger, pinky, on B with a dotted quarter note. So 5th finger, pinky on B, and then we're going to have our thumb on E, 2nd finger on G sharp, and then 4th finger on B. Okay, so let's play that again. Line 1, measure 1, 5th finger, pinky on E, D sharp, E, D sharp, E, 2nd finger on B, D natural, C, and then A, and then drop down, thumb on C, 2nd finger on E, 4th finger on A, 5th finger on B, and then our thumb on E, second finger on G sharp, and then fourth finger on B. Okay, so let's play that again. So we're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2. Okay, I got to count that off. So let's try that again. So we're going to go E, D sharp, E, D sharp, E, B, D natural, A, C, A, C, E, A, B, E, G sharp, B. Okay, so let's see. 1 and excuse me. So let's start off counting the measure 1, line 1, measure 1, since it is kind of that contracted measure. And we'll count that as 3 and, since there's only 3 beats per measure. So 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, so let's try that again at normal speed. Line 1, measure 1. Okay, so line 1, measure 1 with the left hand, we've got the quarter rest, so we're going to count that as 3 and then we've got a whole rest, we've got a full measure rest, so we're going to count that as 3 beats, so 1 and 2 and 3 and, okay, and then in line 1, measure 3, that's where we start with the left hand, and we're going to start with our fifth finger, the pinky, on A, and then our second finger on E, and then our thumb on A. Okay, in line 1, measure 4, we're going to jump down with our pinky on E, and then our thumb on E for an entire octave. And then we're going to cross over with our second finger on G sharp. Okay, so let's go to line 1, measure 3, since that's where the notes start with the left hand. So fifth finger pinky on A, E, A, E, E, cross over to G sharp. Okay. So now let's go ahead and go back to line 1, measure 1, and we'll use both hands, and we'll do it nice and slow at first. So we'll count it off 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, so let's do that again. So pinky on E, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, so if I'm starting off in this piece, what I would do is just use my right hand and do it over and over, and then with my left hand over and over, and then bring it in together over and do it until I feel comfortable with it, and then jump to the next line. But let's go ahead and do line 1, measure 1, line 1 at normal speed, or at relatively normal speed. So. Okay, so again, when starting off playing music and learning the notes and the durations, I like to play with the metronome to get my timing down and accurately. But once I become comfortable with that piece, especially with the classical genre, I like to add a little bit of emotions. And so I don't necessarily play with the metronome because sometimes I like to put pauses and kind of hold on to a note a little bit longer than just the definitive duration of that note. So adding a little bit of emotions to it tends to go away from the timing of the metronome. So let's go back to line 1, measure 1, and we'll just start over and play it at normal speed. Okay, so now let's go to line 2, measure 1, and we're going to use our thumb, or excuse me, our right hand pinky. It's going to be on C, and that's a dotted quarter note, so it's going to be 1 and 2. Okay, so 1 and 2, and then our thumb is going to be on E for an 8th note, and then our pinky on E, and then our 4th finger on D sharp. Okay, measure line 2, measure 2. We've got that E, D sharp, E, B, D natural, C. Okay, and then line 2, measure 3. Our thumb is on the A for a dotted quarter note. 1 and 2, and then our thumb goes to C, 8th note. And then we've got the E with our 2nd finger, A with our 4th finger, and then a dotted quarter note B with our pinky. And then our thumb is going to be on E, and then pinky on C, and then 4th finger on B. Okay, so let's try that again. Line 2, measure 1. I'm just going to play it without counting too much. So we've got C, E, E, D sharp, E, D sharp, E, B, D flat, C, A, C, E, A, B, E, C, B. Okay, so line 2, measure 1. 1 and 2 and 1, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay? So I think we've got that down. Let's go to line 2, measure 1 with the left hand, and we've got our pinky on A. Okay, and then we've got our 2nd finger on E, 8th note, and then our thumb is on A for a half note, and then we've got a full measure rest, and then we've got our 5th finger, pinky on A, E, 2nd finger on E, and then thumb on A again, and then we jump down to E, and then our thumb is on an octave higher E, and then we do that crossover and get that G sharp. Okay, so line 2, measure 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, so as you can tell, the left hand's pretty repetitive, so it kind of makes it kind of nice and easy. So let's start again. Line 2, measure 1. Let's do both hands, and we'll count it off nice and slowly. And I always like to get our fingers ready. So right pinky on C, left pinky on A. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, so I'm going to play that at normal speed, or relatively normal speed. And again, if I was just starting off and this was a new piece for me, I would just play that with the right hand over and over, left hand over and over, and then together over and over. But I've played this version relatively in the last few weeks, but I've played the more formal version of it as well. So I've simplified this I call it the easy piece of Elise, and it's kind of condensed. It doesn't have a couple of movements that the normal one has, and it just kind of makes it nice and easy to learn one of the most popular pieces by Beethoven. And hopefully you'll move from this one down the road to the more formal one. Okay, so let's go to line 2, measure 4. Oh, excuse me, line 2, measure 1. So, and we'll play it at normal speed. So I anticipated the next note, which would be the A in the line 3, measure 1, but we're going to do that again. So line 2, measure 1. Okay, so now again, what I like to do is when I'm learning lines and learning measures, as I continue to learn the full length of the piece or progress onto the piece, I like to occasionally go back to the very beginning and just kind of work up to where I've learned. And so let's do that. Let's go back to line 1, measure 1, and we'll play it at relatively normal speed. Okay. So now let's go to line 3, measure 1, and the right hand, we've got the third finger, middle finger on A for a dotted quarter note. So that's 1 and 2, and then our second finger. So that's where we're ending off the last part of the phrase there. And so when I end the A note there, what I will do is then jump. So I kind of finish off the A, and then I'll jump to the B with the second finger. Okay, so line 3, measure 1, we've got the 3 on the A, and then we'll kind of jump up and land again on our second finger on B, C with our third middle finger, and then our fourth finger on D. So let's go back to line 1, measure 1, line 3, measure 1 with the third finger on A. Okay, so line 3, measure 2, we kind of end that part of that introductory phrase, and we go to the fifth finger, the pinky on E for a dotted quarter note. 1 and 2, and then our thumb on G, and then our pinky on F, fourth finger on E. Okay, so let's try that again. We'll go fifth finger, line 3, measure 2, fifth finger on E, thumb on G, F, E. Okay. I just love that part of the Fur Elise, and unfortunately breaking it down doesn't do any justice, but when you hear it together, it's just such a beautiful part of that piece. So let's go to line 3, measure 3, and then our third finger on D for a quarter note, and then our thumb on F, then E, D. Okay, so let's go to line 3, measure 4. Our third finger is going to be on C for the dotted quarter note. Then our thumb is going to go on to E, pinky on D, and then fourth finger on C. Okay, so let's do that again. Line 3, measure 4. Okay, so let's go back to line 3, measure 1, and start it over, and we'll just start with the middle finger on A for the dotted quarter note, and second finger on B. Okay, so let's play that at relatively normal speed. Oops. Okay, so line 3, measure 1 with the left hand. It's going to be the pinky on A, second finger on E, thumb on A, and then line 3, measure 2, we've got our pinky on C, second finger on G, and then our thumb on C for a half note, and then we jump down, line 3, measure 3, we've got the pinky on G, then our thumb for an octave up, G, and then we do that crossover to a B, and then our pinky on A, second finger on E, thumb on A. Okay, so let's do that again. Line 3, measure 1, we've got A, E, A, C, G, C, G, G, crossover to B, and then we've got A, E, A. Okay, so let's do that again with both hands. Line 3, measure 1. So third finger on A, and then we've got the fifth finger on pinky, left pinky on A as well. So 1 and 2, second finger on B, and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, now you can hear that beautiful melody there. Just love it. Okay, so I'm going to play it at normal speed without counting. So line 3, measure 1. Okay, so now you can hear, some of my notes are a little sped up a little bit, slowed down, and that's just kind of my interpretation of this piece. And if you go online and watch all these different amazing classical pianists play this particular piece, you'll hear them play it differently, and that's what's so great about classical music and a lot of this music. It's really is open for interpretation, subtle interpretations, and people will play it rather mechanically, and then some of the more seasoned artists will play it with such passionate emotions and nuances, and it's just fun to watch and listen to. So let's go back to the beginning, line 1, measure 1, and we'll play all the way to the end of line 3. Okay, so I'm not going to count it off since we've already I'll play it real slow though. Okay, so that was played rather robotically and precisely with the quarter notes, or excuse me, eighth notes, and all the durations kind of played as if I was learning it with a metronome. So let's do that again, line 1, measure 1, and go up to the end of line 3. And I'll play it with a little bit of my own interpretation and nuances. Beautiful. Okay, so line 4, measure 1, we've got our third finger on the B for a dotted quarter note, 1 and 2, and then our thumb is on E, and then our pinky's on E, and then we've got that D sharp. Then we kind of go back to that original phrase. So line 4, measure 2, we've got that E, D sharp, E, second finger on B, fourth finger on that D natural, third finger on C. So line 4, measure 3, we go down to A with our thumb for a dotted quarter note, and then we jump down with our thumb again, C, E, A with our fourth finger, and then fifth finger is on B, and for a dotted quarter note, and then our thumb is on E, second finger on G sharp, and fourth finger on B. Okay, so I'd like to discuss a little bit about the sustain pedal. Now, in order to move from, let's go to line 4, measure 3, from the A, when we're using our thumb, we got to jump down to that C. Now, you can't possibly hold and some people can when they're very quick with their fingers, but I like to use a sustain pedal to let that A kind of play through. So I use a sustain pedal, and then I'll jump down with my thumb and let go of the sustain pedal. And so the sustain pedal is great for allowing not just expression, but to allow the duration of a note when you've got that jump and there's a little gap there, and you don't want to be broken up. And you'll see some professionals play music without the sustain pedal, and they're absolutely incredible. But for someone like myself, I like to use a sustain pedal because my hands aren't that quick to get that jump. So let's go to line 4, measure 1, third finger on B, thumb on E, pinky E, D, E, D, E, second finger on B, you got that fourth finger on D natural, C, and then A, and the sustain pedal, on thumb on C, second finger E, A, B, line 4 measure 4, we got that B with pinky, and then our thumb E, G sharp, B. Okay, so let's play that relatively. I'll count it out. So let's go. Line 4, measure 1, third finger on B, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3. Oops. Let's try that again. So line 4, measure 1, third finger on B, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay. So now let's go to line 4, measure 1 with our left hand. We got our pinky on E, thumb on E, and then we've got that the crossover using the second finger on G sharp. Then we got a whole measure rest. Excuse me. And so then now we've got our line 4, measure 3. We've got fifth finger, pinky on A, E, A. And then we jump down to E, line 4, measure 4, E, thumb on E, and then cross over to G sharp. Okay, so let's play that at normal speed. Okay, so now let's bring all both lines together, right hand, left hand. So third finger on B, fifth finger on E. Okay, so let's go to line 5, measure 1. And excuse me. So line 5, measure 1. Pinky on C. Then we got our thumb on E. Pinky E. D sharp. Line 5, measure 2. E. D sharp. E. Second finger on B. Fourth finger on D natural. Third finger on C, thumb on A, and then we jump down to C, second finger E, fourth finger A, fifth finger on B, and line 5, measure 4. And then we end off the song with our thumb on E, pinky on C, fourth finger B, and then last note we've got the A, and that's a half note, dotted half note, so that's going to be 3 beats, 1 and 2 and 3 and. So let's go back, line 5, measure 1, fifth finger on C, so 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and, oop, messed up there. So let's try that again. Line 5, measure 1. Fifth finger on C. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, so let's go to line 5, measure 1, and we'll end it off. So we've got our fifth finger on A, second finger on E, thumb on A. Okay, and then we've got line 5, measure 2, we've got that rest. And then we've got line 5, measure 3, we've got our pinky on A, E, A, and then we jump down to E, octave E with the thumb, cross over to G sharp, and then we end it off with the A with our pinky. Okay, so let's try that again. Line 5, measure 1 with the left hand at relatively normal speed. All right, so let's try that with line 5, measure 1. We'll use our right hand and our left hand. So fifth finger on C, fifth finger on A with the left hand. Okay, sorry about this. It's definitely my allergies are acting up here. So let's go back to line 1, measure 1, and we'll play it nice and slow at first, and then we'll play it in its entirety at normal speed. Okay, so line 1, measure 1, from the beginning, we'll play it rather slowly. Oops. Okay, I think we've got that done. And again, if I'm practicing this piece and learning this piece, I just kind of do it over and over with right hand, left hand, and sometimes there's going to be parts that are a little more complex, and I'll play those kind of over and over until I get really comfortable with it. And sometimes it just kind of helps to get through it and then kind of get away from it. Maybe take the day off, play it the next day, and practice it the next day. So from the beginning, Beethoven's for Elise, Bagatelle number 25 in A minor. Okay, had a little stumble there, so I am going to try it again. I've got the formal version of this kind of in my memory, and I've played it quite a few times, and so my rote memory likes to try to kick in and take over. And so let's go back to the beginning. So Beethoven's for Elise, Bagatelle number 25 in A minor. Okay, I love that piece. So, like I said, this particular piece, this arrangement, I made and cut out some, simplified it so although it's relatively difficult for a beginner, but a lot more simplified than the more formal version of it. So, since I have a little bit of time, I will see how much I can play the formal version. Okay, so Beethoven's for Elise. You know what? Let me put that right there. Okay, I think I should have practiced that before I played it here, but oh well. Wanted to jump in and kind of show you the formal version of that. It's just a beautiful piece. It's Bagatelle number 25 in A minor by Beethoven, more popularly known as for Elise. So I hope this helps you out. I've got it on my website. I've got a bunch of videos that breaks down the basics of learning music and how learning the notes and how it correlates to the piano, so that excuse me, that hopefully that it'll get you started. I always recommend, if you do have the time and money and resources, to take traditional piano lessons from a teacher. It's a great way to learn and get feedback. But in our times where we have a lot of distractions, or especially with this pandemic going on, it's just kind of a great way to be able to learn at home. I look at music as a way, although it's fun, and I know it really helps out developing other aspects of my personality, and but more importantly, I like to look at music and the piano as a way to stimulate what I say is the analytical reasoning, but also the opening up creativity. And so I'm a big proponent that in our times, busy schedules, we say we don't have a lot of time to learn music or play music, and so I've got on my website some ideas on how to kind of make the lessons and exercises fun. So if you go to PianoWithMichael.com and just kind of go through all the different videos, you'll see what I'm talking about. And I'm not trying to replace teachers, but I know music is such an important thing. It's done wonders for me, and I just want to be able to share it with people that maybe don't have time or just want to get started. And so yeah, so there it is, Beethoven's for Elise, Bagatelle number 25. Please, if you like this video, like it, share it, subscribe to my channel, and then also click on that notification bell to get notified when I put up new videos. So thanks for watching. Bye.
Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it helpful. Visit our website for content, tips, and products. And as always, practice, but make sure it's fun.